Star Fox has become one of Nintendo's hidden gems recently. It's not talked about very much and it doesn't sell well, but those who play it tend to love it. I myself have grown quite fond of the series despite not having played the first one on Super Nintendo. The original on Super Nintendo was developed by Nintendo in 1993, and it was one of the few games that utilized the Super FX chip, which enabled 3D graphics. How does Fox's maiden voyage hold up in its age? Is it still a trip to remember, or should you get it off your back? Star Fox is pretty light on story like usual for Super Nintendo games that aren't RPGs, which is fine. Fox McCloud is the leader of the Star Fox team, a band of mercenaries that is usually brought in to save the Lilat system. He and his team, Peppy Hare, Falco Lombardi, and Slippy Toad, were brought in to fight the evil Dr. Andross, and that's really it. It's fine for this type of game where the story is just for moving players throughout the game. The gameplay is also pretty simple considering this is a rail shooter. You move around the screen dodging enemy projectiles, all while firing back. Not all enemies need to be defeated as you are constantly moving forward. Your actions consist of shooting, firing bombs, hitting the brake, boosting, and doing barrel rolls. The basic gameplay works well and remains quite fun, but is consistently bogged down with performance issues, which was common for the first era of 3D games. Each stage ends with a boss battle, and the boss battles boil down to standing in the enemy's line of fire while you fire at them, hoping to kill them first. The game is extremely short, but there are 3 difficulties to choose from, and each difficulty has different stages. Different, more difficult stages. Overall, the game is still fun, but the performance issues really hold the game back. Safe to say that the game looks like an early 3D game. Everything is a solid polygon and it's not that nice to look at anymore. It might have been amazing looking back in the day, but it has fallen into the trap of early 3D and hasn't aged well at all. What has aged well was the music, which remains catchy. Now, the performance issues are what damage the game almost beyond repair. The game never runs at a steady clip and is choppy as hell. Your movement is choppy and it's really hard to look at. It is one of the few Super Nintendo games that can hurt my eyes. The game is not smooth to play anymore and ruins the whole game almost. It's safe to say that while Star Fox is fun to play for a bit, it's nowhere near a well-preserved game. Its performance issues are really noticeable today, and it's safe to say that 3D really hurt this game's timeline. Admittedly, this review was really short, but this game doesn't have much to it. Simplicity in itself is not a bad thing, and it isn't here, thankfully. Still, it's fun to play if you haven't, but if you have before, there's no reason to go back. Fox and his team are shooting themselves in the foot with 2 out of 5 stars.